Oh, you don't need to chase after anyone. You don't need to send messages or humble yourself in silence, waiting to be noticed. True power lies in disappearing with elegance. What truly attracts isn't persistent presence. It's the emptiness you leave when you walk away with dignity. And here's the secret: whoever masters their own desires, masters the desires of others. In this video, you'll learn how to make that person come back, not out of neediness, but out of obsession. And we'll use Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that shaped emperors, warriors, and untamable minds. If you apply this, you'll stop chasing after crumbs and start being the feast. Now, let's dive into the teachings. Lesson 1. Vengeance is living better. Most people, when they are left, betrayed, or forgotten, want to react. They want to show they're on top. They want to poke, provoke, and make the other person feel pain. But the Stoic looks at all of this and smiles, silently, because they know the most powerful revenge is living so well that the other person destroys themselves from within. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to rub your new phase in anyone's face. No need for indirect posts or double-meaning phrases. You just need to grow, silently, consistently, relentlessly. Do you want that person to come back obsessed? Then become the version of yourself they never imagined you could be. More attractive, healthier, more mature, more prosperous. And all of this without them. Stoicism teaches us that the focus shouldn't be on the other person, but on ourselves. While the world wastes time trying to get attention, you invest in the invisible. In your mind, in your peace, in your evolution. You start training, eating better, studying what you once ignored, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. And little by little, you stop being the wounded version and transform into someone the other person no longer has access to. Do you know what this causes? That pang in the chest. That feeling of, how could he or she get better without me? The other person's mind begins to compare. They start stalking you. They look at who's by their side now and realize it's not the same, because you stopped being a memory. You became a reference. You became that person who left, and after that, only climbed. While the other person stayed stuck, while they were trapped in their own vanity, you broke patterns. This is more than revenge. It's elevation. You left the emotional field and entered the field of greatness. And you know what's even more impactful? You're not doing this to show anything. You're doing it because you discovered your true worth. And the moment this awareness awakens, you understand, forgiveness isn't excusing. It's overcoming so much that it no longer hurts to remember. You simply smile and move on. The person who underestimated you will see you from afar and realize they lost someone that no amount of love in the world can replace. Lesson 2. Rebuild yourself with silence. Talking is easy. Explaining, justifying, begging. All of this is common. But if there's one thing that shakes anyone's emotional state, it's silence. Especially the silence of someone who used to be a constant noise. Stoicism teaches that true self-mastery isn't in reacting, but in observing. And when you become silent, you start to see more clearly. The noise of the world fades, and the sound of your own soul begins to echo. Do you know what most people do when they are ignored? They chase after the other person. Send texts, call, beg. And the more they do this, the more they lose their own value. The Stoic does the opposite. They withdraw their presence as if removing a throne. There is no greater punishment than the absence of someone who once filled all the spaces. It's when you disappear that the other person realizes how much you were missed. And it's not just physical absence. It's the absence of your vibe, your touch, your attention, the way you used to look. During this silence, you're not just missing. You're rebuilding. It's not an escape. It's a rebirth. While the other person tries to understand what happened, you are becoming someone new, someone stronger, more aligned, more beautiful inside and out. You begin reading more, training more, smiling more, investing in yourself like never before. And all of this without announcing it. Silence, when used well, has the power to create entire narratives. In the other person's mind, questions arise. What could she be doing? Has he already forgotten me? Why did she disappear like that? And the best part, you don't need to answer any of them, because silence is the answer. It's a sign of evolution. It's living proof that you stopped begging for what should have always been offered. You're not distancing yourself out of pride. You're distancing yourself out of self-love. Meanwhile, the other side starts to lose it, because what once seemed guaranteed now became a mystery. And everything that becomes uncertain turns into obsession. You reappear when you're ready, without explanations, without long texts, without apologies, just more attractive, calmer, more distant. And at that moment, the person who once ignored your worth will realize they lost something that the world out there can't replace. Lesson 3. Independence is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is more seductive than someone who needs no one. This is the essence of genuine attraction. Have you noticed that? That person who enters a room and isn't trying to please, impress, or draw attention, but still everyone notices. They have something, an inner glow, and that something is called emotional freedom. In Stoicism, this is a sacred virtue, called autarkia, self-sufficiency. The Stoic doesn't depend on applause, doesn't need validation. They are whole in themselves. And when you become whole, you become magnetic. Do you know why? Because most people live begging for attention. They live as emotional vampires. They place their happiness in the hands of others, as if the world is obligated to feed their ego. And then, when someone comes along who smiles alone, who lives well with themselves, that person becomes an enigma, a beacon in the midst of a needy darkness. Do you want that person to come back obsessed? Then show through silent actions that you don't need them, not because you're arrogant, but because you've discovered your happiness doesn't depend on anyone. You support yourself. You love yourself. You replenish yourself. You post less, speak less, live more, and every little piece of peace you gain alone is a signal to the world. I am whole. Whoever comes may overflow. This is not a game. It's emotional authority. It's showing that you're not waiting for the person to fill your void, because you don't have a void. You have presence, purpose, direction, and the craziest part? The more you detach from the need to be desired, the more you are desired, because everyone wants what doesn't beg. Everyone is drawn to those who live within their own axis. The Stoic understands that love is a choice, not a prison. And when you show you can leave at any moment, it's at that very second the other person wants to stay. You become what they can't buy, can't control, can't replace. And when they realize they've lost someone who doesn't need anyone, the obsession begins. Silent, hot, irresistible. Lesson 4. Mystery is magnetic. Have you ever noticed how what we don't understand draws us in? It's instinctive, almost animalistic. The human mind is wired to seek meaning, patterns, explanations, but when it encounters mystery, something locks. And what locks holds. What isn't fully revealed lodges in the soul. Have you ever seen someone fall in love with something completely predictable? With someone who says everything they feel, everything they do, everything they think? No, because that doesn't generate curiosity. And curiosity is the fuel of desire. It's not love that keeps someone obsessed. It's the enigma. It's the why did he disappear? It's the what did she mean by that? It's the who is he with now? Stoicism teaches us the value of introspection, of the silent soul, of the gaze that observes more than it speaks. And it's in this stance that magnetism resides, because you don't open up to just anyone. You don't reveal yourself fully right away. You don't give the key to your soul like a flyer on a busy street corner. You leave traces, footprints, fragments of your essence, and the other person begins to piece together the puzzle, but never finds all the pieces. And guess what? They come back, not out of love, but out of the need to understand what you are. You become the character in their inner plot. You become the doubt they take to bed, the thought that escapes during work, the flash they see in the bathroom mirror. They try to resist, but they can't, because you've already entered. And the best part? Without asking for permission, The secret to mystery is not manipulation. It's protection. It's choosing what to show and what to keep hidden. It's understanding that power lies in being selective. Not every vulnerability needs to be given, and those who know how to stay silent command the silence of others. You don't need to post everything. You don't need to explain anything. You don't need to justify your absence. What you need is to become unforgettable because you've made yourself impossible to decipher. Lesson 5. Overflow with self-respect. Do you want to be desired, admired, unforgettable? Then learn this simple and brutal truth. What attracts the most is what respects itself the most. People who respect themselves overflow, and everything that overflows attracts. It's physical, it's energetic, it's inevitable. When you move through the world with awareness of who you are, what you deserve, and what you'll never accept again, you become untouchable. The Stoic doesn't live to please. They live in alignment. They act according to their values, not according to the wishes of others. They say no firmly. They distance themselves when disrespected. They stay silent when they notice the game has turned into theater. And this behavior causes shock. Do you know why? Because most people live seeking acceptance. They accept crumbs just to avoid being alone. They degrade themselves for company. They lose their essence just to keep someone around. And this doesn't attract anyone. It repels. But what happens when you, instead of begging, elevate your standards? What happens when you, instead of waiting, build? The unthinkable happens. You become a mirror. The other person looks at you and sees what they can't become. You become inspiration. You become a reference. And eventually you become obsession. Because the world outside is full of needy people. Full of those who give themselves too easily. But when someone comes along who respects themselves so much, who doesn't lower their head, who doesn't tolerate disrespect, who walks away with class in the face of abuse, that person becomes rare. And everything that is rare is sought after. And everything that is sought after is desired. Do you want that person to come back? Then stop trying to convince them. Stop explaining yourself. Stop chasing them. And start becoming someone they'll never find again. This is the best answer, the best revenge, and the greatest act of self-love. And the craziest part of all? When you start treating yourself as a prize, the world stops seeing you as an option. You become the goal, the destination, the objective, and whoever once underestimated you will beg to get back what they lost for not knowing how to value it. Lesson 6. The game of controlled absence. Disappearing is not vanishing. It's appearing in another way, stronger, more selective, more impactful. While most run to maintain constant presence, you learn the power of a strategic retreat. What Stoicism teaches us is simple. It's not about punishment. It's about preservation. When you're always present, the other person gets used to you. You become routine. You become scenery. You become background noise. But when you step away, when you withdraw with calm and intention, you become an echo. You become a felt absence. You become the silence that screams. The human mind fills voids, tries to understand why you disappeared. Did he get tired? Did she forget me? Did I reach my limit? And there you go. You start to inhabit the other person's imagination. Not with words, but with your absence. The Stoic doesn't disappear to hurt. They withdraw to maintain their peace. They understand that desire is born in the space between touch and absence. And it's in this space that the other person starts to imagine, idealize, feel the void. But here's the secret. Don't disappear completely. That turns into indifference. You need to control the dose of absence like you're dosing poison. A disappearance here, a subtle reappearance there. An occasional like, a prolonged silence, a timely presence, but never desperate. You show you're fine, that life goes on, that you breathe easy, without the person, and that's cruelly seductive, because human beings want what they can't fully have. And when you become someone partially inaccessible, you ignite the fire of obsession. The person wants to decipher you, wants to understand what happened, wants to know if you still feel something. But you don't give. You don't offer certainty. You let them dance to the rhythm of your silence. Controlled absence is art. It's a Stoic strategy. It's mastering your own impulse, the ability to resist the urge to appear. It's knowing that sometimes disappearing is the loudest of shouts. And while the other person begs for signs, you reappear when you want, in your own way, with renewed energy, with the look that says, "I've returned, but now, I'm the one who has changed." Lesson 7. Be the character in the story they wanted to be. People don't fall in love with who you are. They fall in love with what they imagine you to be. And that's where the secret lies. Because in the end, no one misses the facts. They miss the feelings, the scenes, the moments, the mental character they themselves created about you. Stoicism teaches us to know ourselves deeply, but also to understand how others see us. You can be simple, real, even imperfect, but with emotional intelligence, you transform into a narrative. You become the what if, the maybe still, that person who was different from all the others. As you live, you write chapters, and when you leave the book open, without an ending, without a conclusion, without an epilogue. And guess what this causes? Obsession. Because everything that didn't have a clear ending continues to exist in the mind. Human beings hate emotional gaps, and you become exactly that, a gap. But it doesn't stop there. You don't just disappear. You evolve. You vanish. But those who find you discover an even better version of you. More mature, more at peace, more powerful. And this feeds the narrative. Did he become what I always wanted him to be? Did she finally become the version I envisioned? And even if the person is already with someone else, your character still resides within them. You don't compete with the new person. You compete with the memory that's suspended in time. So show the least, but show the right least. That photo with the good lighting, that enigmatic caption, that unexpected appearance, with an energy so different it makes the person think, "How did I let that slip away?" The Stoic doesn't play to win today. He plants a seed in the other person's mind that will bloom at the right time. You're not trying to win them back. You're becoming a myth, personal legend, an emotional reference. And between us, no one surpasses a legend. No one forgets a character that marked the plot of their own story. And, in the silence of nights, that person will long for, not you exactly as you were, but the idealized version of you that never left their mind. Lesson 8. Be unshakable. There is a certain type of person you can't forget. It's not the most beautiful. It's not the most charismatic. It's the most centered. The one who, even when everything is falling apart, stays firm, calm, present. That person is a silent earthquake. And when they enter your life, they settle in your memory with the force of a symbol. Stoicism teaches the idea of ataraxia, an imperturbable peace. It's not coldness. It's awareness. It's knowing that nothing external should shake your internal world. And when you master this art, you become magnetic. Think about it. While most panic, curse, post indirects, humiliate themselves, you remain silent. You keep your class. You disappear without drama. You feel, of course, but you don't expose it. You process in private and evolve in the dark. Do you know what this causes in the other person? Doubt, insecurity, curiosity. Are they really okay? How do they manage so well? Are they not suffering? And boom, the other person's mind begins to work for you. You become an enigma. You become a rock. You become an absence that doesn't groan but weighs. And the most brutal part is that this strength is not just out of pride. It's a strategy of the soul. You don't allow yourself to break because, those who are unshakable become unreachable. And what's unreachable is desired, fiercely, obsessively, thirstily. Deep down, everyone wants to be with someone who doesn't need anyone. Someone who doesn't fall apart when left. Who doesn't turn into drama, or a soap opera, or a cry for help, but instead turns into a mystery and reappears days or weeks later, more beautiful, lighter, more distant. with the look of someone who saw the abyss and came back better. This posture is not common. That's why it's rare. And everything that is rare stays in the memory. Do you want that person to come back obsessed? Then be the one they thought would be destroyed, but they found reborn. Nothing breaks the Stoic, because the Stoic understands. It's not about what happens to you, but about who you decide to become despite everything.